Last year, Ford launched the new Ranger, and we got to drive a few of them in and around Mpumalanga. And it was pretty obvious back then that even the most basic spec would be some serious competition to the established Bucky Brigade. And now, 6 months later, the Ranger is on the top 10 list of the best-selling light commercial vehicles in the country. And now, they have themselves a sports model. Well, maybe not in the true sense of the word, but you'd certainly think that under all the bright paintwork and accented bit, there lurks some performance intent. Even the name, Wildtrak, suggests that it's got more than your average Ranger, and it sits at the top of the rather extensive Ranger family tree. But it's not what you'd call a performer, which you could probably tell just by looking at it closely. For starters, there are no LEDs, and these days, no self-respecting performance machine would be seen dead without LEDs. There are running boards, it's the same ride height as the regular Ranger, and there's only one exhaust tailpipe, and it's not chrome, and you can't even see it. So, what is special about this car? It seems that on the face of it, all that loud paint is for the sole purpose of announcing to the world that you drive the best Ford Bucky available, and maybe enhancing what was already a good-looking mode of transport. It's a big truck this, and sprayed in orange and black just makes it seem a little bit more imposing. For me, this is the second best looking car in its class, slightly behind the VW Amarok, but way ahead of everything else. It's one of the first of a new generation of Buckies that, like the modern man apparently, is supposed to give at least some attention to its appearance. This Wildtrak spec gives the Ranger a bit of bling appeal, and it's well executed. Certainly not everyone's idea of what a Bucky should be, but also not something that would look out of place in the city either. Open up the bonnet and you get the impression that the paint job is the only thing that sets this car apart. This is the same 5-cylinder 3.2-litre turbo diesel in the rest of the range, 147 kilowatts, 470 newton meters, 6-speed manual. And it is your only choice in the Wildtrak. Might have been nice if they'd borrowed the 5-cylinder turbo petrol from the Cougar with its impressive delivery and very nice sound. Ford claims this diesel will go through 8.4 litres per 100 k's and spew out 235 grams of CO2 while doing it, which is pretty much what the other Buckies in its class would do. So, nothing special. But it is, well, once it's warm, because when it's cold, it sounds and it feels like a 3-cylinder tractor. But once you're up to speed, there's so much torque that you literally don't have to go past 2,000 RPM. What we think is short shifting is completely normal in the Wildtrak. And then there's the gear shift itself, which feels like it's come out of a hot hatch. That torque delivery also means that hauling a 1-ton load or towing 1,800 kilograms should be easy. But despite my not exploring the rev range, the consumption figure for my time with this car sat at around the 11.5 mark. Another example where a manufacturer's claim figures are somewhat pounded into submission by reality. Despite its diesel power, the overall impression of the Ranger is that it's been built to take on the streets rather than the sand tracks. The ride setup is curiously on the hard side. I mean, I love the fact that it doesn't have that tall car wallowiness, but it does take some getting used to. And if you want to explore the wild part of this car, well, the only thing you have to help you in that regard is a rear diff lock, so good luck. I kind of find that a pity because with this motor and the new Ranger's brilliant off-road capability, the Wildtrak would actually make a very good choice for those who occasionally partake in some adventure. And that's especially true when you look at what you get inside this Bucky. Despite the paint job, it's not a performance machine, and despite its 4x4 genetics, it's not an explorer in the true sense of the word. But one of the best things about the new Ranger is the cabin, and what this Bucky does is take an interior that was already good and makes it even better. Orange detailing on the seats might not be your thing, but with everything else in here, you soon forget about that. In fact, you soon forget that this is a Bucky. The interior is more sedan-like in its space and build. Sure, some parts have been borrowed from some other Fords, but that's what makes it. Ford haven't just treated the Ranger as a workhorse and left it at that. There's real thought and decent design in here. And then the Wildtrak steps in and adds leather seats, electric on the driver's side, dual-zone climate control, USB, Bluetooth and a reversing camera, and a very nice sound system. Ford have put the Wildtrak at the top of the Ranger lineup, not because it's the most expensive, but because it's the best balance of everything. It's got styling that stands out, it's got a drive that's easy around town and still pretty capable off-road, and an interior that'll keep you comfortable wherever you are. As it stands, it's about 20,000 Rand more than a similarly spec'd Toyota Hilux, but if you're in the market, that car is worth serious consideration. The turbo diesel motor combines with a great manual gearbox to give the Wildtrak an easy drive. It's comfortable, it's well spec'd, and it offers a different look, but it won't take you on any real adventures.